Next, we have Vox Lux. So Vox Lux, I had the privilege to see this one with the director present, Brady Corbet, who I think you said you were a fan on a recent episode.
Yeah, I like his film.
Yeah.
His first film, which is the Childhood of a Leader, which I haven't seen Vox Lux, but I really like that film.
Right. Which is still on my list, but yeah. So Brady Corbet, he wrote and directed Vox Lux. The stars Natalie Portman and Jude Law, Raffey Cassidy, Stacey Martin, and Jennifer Ailey. So this film, I kind of went into it not knowing too much about the setup. I know last week I didn't really fully understand the premise here, but now I obviously do. So this is based on a fictional character. This is based on a singer who, when we first meet her, it's 1999, about to be the year 2000, and a young girl named Celeste. She's first played by Raffey Cassidy. You actually don't meet the Natalie Portman version of this character, who is Celeste grown up, until later in the film. It opens with a tragedy that sort of projects Celeste into being a nationally famous person, because at a funeral that happens after this tragedy, she sings a very moving song that becomes an instant hit. So the film chronicles her life, as she deals with this fame and essentially becomes a pop star. She works with her older sister, Ellie, who's played by Stacey Martin. And the two sisters, they help each other create the music, and they use music to sort of cope with catastrophe and tragedy. And eventually a manager is hired by them, played by Jude Law. And he sort of navigates them through, in the first half, the pitfalls of fame and how they can use this career to really make something of themselves. The film then jumps to Natalie Portman. She's in her 30s now. And we see what that fame has done to her, how it's strained her relationships. And we see it really is an amalgamation of a lot of different singers and people like over the years. And this very much is a film about what celebrities deal with, how celebrities are analyzed by the press and by their fans. It's about how celebrity behavior can really be understood by tragedy and catastrophe, as I was saying. There is a kind of unique connection here between terrorism, people who do very violent acts, and celebrities who sometimes get caught up in that. I think this film is being made in the aftermath, or I don't want to say this for sure, but I think with Ariana Grande had to cancel a concert because of a shooting that happened there. That's not to say anything that happens plot-wise in here, but I think this film, you're going to say?
Did that shooting actually happen during her concert?
That's what I wasn't sure about. So it's a little unclear, and I think there is some sort of like tie there, and I have a feeling it played its way into the script. But again, I'm not saying that actually happens in this movie,
right?
But you do have that sort of context for a sort of anything can happen, because there is a scene where people put on masks that remind of Celeste's one of her music videos, and they sort of like mimic her as they do a very violent thing. So that's kind of what this film is dealing with. It's dealing with the way that people handle tragedy, national tragedies. This film happens during the course of 9/11, for example. And, but then it also contextualizes it through how a celebrity deals with it. I do not like this movie. I think that it is very bad. And I'm very sad to say that, because I like the ideas here. I think that it is an interesting premise. Willem Dafoe does the narration, for example, which is kind of an interesting touch. It's an experimental film. This is probably the theme of this episode of Cinemaholics, is so many experimental films are getting talked about. And certainly this is one where that is the case. And I think that for people who love film, they owe it to themselves to at least try and see this. They might like it. I know it's been getting rave reviews, but I'm not going to say anyone is misguided, but I do think that there's something in the water at some of these theaters, because I think that this film truly fails to do what it sets out to do, because it takes great ideas and presents them in the blandest way possible. And it's such a shame, because the performances here are pitch perfect, pun intended. Natalie Portman really sells this really curmudgeonly celebrity with bad behavior that you want to see her sort of interact with other characters. You buy it. You buy what she's doing with this role. I think Natalie Portman is a fantastic actress. I think Black Swan and Jackie have proved that she is very capable of roles like this. The problem with Vox Lux is that everything is at A level except for the script. The dialogue and a lot of the plot here it ranges from incoherent to just straight boring, most obvious thing a character would say in that situation. There are no surprises in the dialogue. There's no richness. It's the kind of thing where you don't know good dialogue. You don't appreciate good dialogue until it's not there. And because normally we take it for granted, but when you have these characters talking to each other, it feels so much like not even the first draft. It feels like the rejected draft that the intern wrote up and nobody had the courage to edit it. It's so unfortunate because I just truly wonder what prevented anybody working on this film with all of the wonderful voices and crew behind this. So many fantastic filmmakers, including Brady Corbet, based on reputation alone. I just really got the sense that this thing was unfiltered to a fault, and I think it's a real slog to get through. And then its other sin is because if it was just the script, I would maybe be lower B level on this. But what really kills it is the climax, the final act. I've heard some people say that it's fantastic. I think it's absolutely atrocious. It's like, what if Whiplash but boring? And that really bummed me out because it was this film's moment to sort of bring it all together and sort of salvage what's there. And it really just plays off in a way that made me question how much they were paying Sia, who did the original music here. Because, again, though, the music is good. I think that one of the early songs that Raffey Cassidy performs it's beautiful. I saved it to my Apple Music. I think the score here by Scott Walker is hauntingly beautiful. All of that really works, but there's just a final, pair of scenes or sequence of scenes, I suppose, that happen that are just truly awful. I thought I just found it just absolutely devoid of anything experiential or engaging. I think it's the experience that it's one of those experiences that I deeply am sad about because this is a film with so much potential and one that I was really rooting for. Just last week, Will Ashton, I was saying that this was one of my most anticipated of the winter season, and I'm sad to say it let me down quite a bit. I give it a C. Fortunately, there's so much to like here that it really is. It really sort of balances out on that curve. But no, I think that Vox Lux sucks, and hopefully that's just me, something going on with me that it didn't click with me. But I worry that that's going to happen for a lot of people who do go seek this out based on these fantastic reviews. I don't see it, so I worry about some of the reception from general audiences. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, I've heard very, very divisive things about the film. It seems like nobody has the same opinion, which actually excites me a little bit. I'm actually honestly looking forward to the film, even though you're not a fan of it, because like people who have liked it have really, really liked it to the point where I'm like, I guess it's just one of those films where you either like it or you don't, and I don't know where I'll stand on it. But given the fact that I liked his first film a lot, I feel like I'll probably at least appreciate this one. But it's interesting, even sometimes like a film like this, people will be like, oh, I didn't really care for the film, but the performance is good. Like I've even heard people criticize Natalie Portman's performance. Katie Walsh from, or I guess at one point the playlist, now she writes elsewhere, she was even saying that's like a Razzie-worthy performance. So I'm curious.
I can't 100% disagree with her because there are moments in here. I don't think it's her though. I think it's the dialogue. I think that it is sort of the thing where you can blame her, but I don't think it's the way she's delivering it. I just think it's the words themselves are bad. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's unfortunate to hear, but I'll definitely be checking it out, and we'll see where I stand.
Yeah. I hope this is one of those films. I hope it makes your top 5.
We'll see.
And I did forget to mention this is from Neon, a studio that I genuinely seek out because I love how bold their films are. Unfortunately, this just didn't quite cut it for me personally. So
Yeah, so it's kind of like, is this year's I, Tonya, I guess?
well, I really liked Titania, so
Well, no, but I, Tonya was another film that got kind of mixed response
that's true. That's true.
from
But I
me
think
on.
I
So.
think the mixed response with that one was a little bit more about subject matter, more so than I think people liked the filmmaking for the most part in I, Tonya. And here, I think people are just really not responding to the filmmaking in some of the. But I don't know. I'd have to read some more reviews honestly because I've only sort of surface level seen some of the reactions to Vox Lux, so I'm not sure if it's similar
All right,
in
yeah.
that sense. Yeah. But okay, that is Vox Lux. I don't recommend it, but again, if you love film, and especially you, Ashton, I think you should see it because I think it is one of those bad films that hopefully you would have an opinion on, and maybe you would consider it good.
Yeah, no, I was just living because I knew that was going to be your response. Just like, well, I don't recommend it, but well, you should check it out anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.